That would be great, Quentin.
Cool. We are recording.
Cool. Can everybody hear me? Are we all good?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. Was that the start of a question, or was it just yes? Was it a yes?
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. So Bile, we all good?
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good.
All right, cool. Cool. So guys, where are we in the process? How are things fitting together? They probably aren't really making sense right now, and that is okay. Don't panic if you've been playing with different aspects of the app. Don't get caught up in the finer little details. But right now, the things that I've asked you to play with are tools that we're going to be using, and the more that you've played with them and made up your theoretical client and the theoretical program, it's going to get you acquainted with how the program fits together. But we're not expecting you to be a wizard just yet, so don't worry about it. Don't panic. I have discussed with the lit earlier, and I'd just like to share with the rest of you that when we are expecting you to get a client flow, which means from induction to the consultation to actually building a program for them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record my screen on my phone so you can see the process on the app. And then I'm also going to record my screen and show the process on a computer so that you have both of 2 reference points. Okay. Also, moving forward with the videos, I know we're doing recordings hour and plus, and this session is probably going to be a little bit longer because it was suggested that we do longer Monday times. Quentin and I are going to see if we can timeline the video for you, meaning we'll upload the video, and then as a comment or in the caption, we're going to say at 15 minutes, we're talking about consultations. At 25 minutes, we're talking about goal setting. At 35 minutes, we're talking about safety, etc., etc. So it's almost like a little cheat sheet way of, if you want to review a certain part of the course, that you can just go and look for that timestamp so that it's much easier to reference and find things. Does that sound good to everybody so far?
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Cool. So now that Quentin has shown us some back-end tricks on how we're going to, first of all, understand why we're doing this, and also what our ideal client is, so we know who we're going to be looking for and attracting into our world, attracting into our space. What I would like to teach you today is the consultation process. Okay, some of the things are just like any regular consultation, but I have learned over doing this online for some time now that there are certain things that I've learned that you should emphasize more because, well, the best reason that I can give you is because this can be a very disconnected process. Online can be too disconnected, and particularly with the kind of product that I've been, and I've told you last week that we're going to be building. It's a personalized, it's a premium product. It's almost like a one-on-one type of learning that we're going to do. So it's important to build an interaction and have a connection with the client, especially if you're not able to meet that person in person. All right. If it is possible to do it in person, that would be great. But probably 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100, especially after things grow and grow, you're going to have to either settle for a Zoom session or a phone call. Consultations, in my opinion, should never be done over text. It's, first of all, too informal, and secondly, you can't actually get down to the things that you actually need to know from a safety perspective as well. Okay, who here does not know how to do any like have never done a consultation with a client or is very unsure about consultations?
I'm still very unsure about consultations sometimes, or like it's been a long time since I've consulted a client. So yeah, touch up would be great.
Okay, cool. So you've done it. Have you done it theoretically? Have you ever done like a role play before?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But
I have done.
and have you ever done it actually for a client, even if it's not a paid for client, like taken on a family member or
Yes,
someone?
yes, but it's like I've said, it's been quite a long time. I think it's been like 7 months or so. So
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
it can start to feel rusty, especially, I mean, after a length of time like that. So what I'm going to be teaching you guys is not from like some sales booklet that I found, or I have gone to business school. I have gone through like teachings of how to do this in a sales sort of way. However, I'm going to use that knowledge that I've learned through that as well as my experience. And this is the things that I think that you should add into consultations that has been working for me. It may be a process of you guys can give me some input, and there's maybe things that we can add or maybe things that we can take away. It's definitely not a perfect process, but this is how I've been doing it. And I've got quite extensive experience with consultations because I worked on a cruise ship. And basically what that meant is for a year of my life, every 10 days, I had the opportunity of working or potentially working with 900 new people, because after every 10 days, we had a shipload of people that left and then a shipload of people that arrived. And my job being working 6 days a week was to get those people into the gym, into consultations with me, and then either do eating plans with them, exercise plans with them, or various other services that we were offering. So I've redone this process thousands of times, and it's a very important thing to get right, because if you can build that trust with someone, and if they can tell that you're professional, your conversion rates from interacting with someone to a client that's actually going to be paying you for a service and staying with you for a long period of time, that kind of all revolves around the consultation process. All right. What I did also think about today, and this was just a thought that I've had today, I made during this process, because we're trying to do the over-the-shoulder approach, what I was thinking of doing is asking one of the people that I do a consultation with as I go through this process with you, if they wouldn't mind me recording the session and being able to share it. I have no idea if anyone is going to say yes to that, but if they do, then hopefully we can use it in the course, or just use it as like an individual like thing that we can send you guys, and maybe not actually leave in the course. I have no idea how that would even work. Quentin would need to tell me if maybe he could tell me if that's something we could actually add. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe you can give me a consultation, Neil. And I need some help.
Actually, that's actually just a fantastic idea. I didn't think of just doing one.
I'm the outsider here.
That's perfect. Actually, we can do one with Quentin. I'm sure he'll consent to being recorded.
I'll tell you all about my personal problems. How's that? And everybody will be in tears.
Don't waste our time now, Quentin. We want to know facts, and we want to know how we can help you with your goals. And then that's it. We're moving on. No, we're not honestly.
Okay, no, sounds good.
I think we should do a first one with Quentin. I think we should definitely jot that into the course. Okay, so Alette has also told me a little bit about her consultation process, and she's told me how specific it is, because there is a lot of depth that she's working with in her services, which is great, guys. And we need to have that approach when we're working with our clients as well. We may be working with completely healthy people, but at the same time, there are safety questions and things like that we need to ask, but we'll get into that. Ryan, how are you currently doing your consult process, or how are you currently getting clients at the gym that you're working at the moment?
So most of the people that I actually get at Veginative, they either approach me like directly because of they've heard because of word of mouth, the type of training that I give. Sometimes I just speak to sales guys. I tell them that, look, if you give me a person that I can give a complimentary consultation in the session, then I'll generate leads from you from those people in terms of like if you give your friend a day pass to come train here, I'll give you another complimentary session after a month or so. So, and then from that point on, obviously, I started my consultation with them. And then usually, which takes me about 15 minutes at most. And then I go into the training because most of the time, since it's in person, they don't want to just come to the gym for consultation and go home. They just want to come for the They just want to come for the training. So I just obviously tell them before we actually start your training, I just want to get to know you better so I can deliver the best type of training. And then I just have a quick sit down with them, and from there, just go into the floor and train them.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Ryan. And all of your consultations you do in person with your clients, right?
All I've done have been in person, yes.
Okay. So when I used to work for one of the big gyms, I also was fed free, people had free sessions with trainers that they could have as part of their sign up. It's a very easy way to get leads. Obviously, those people are interested in exercise. That's why they're signing up to the gym. And there were lots of them. The trainers that already had their own like client bases, they didn't want to be doing these free sessions. So I mean, I just had like as many numbers as I wanted to phone. And what I would actually do is break up. Instead of just giving them one session, I would actually have the first hour with them as a consultation. And then I would explain to them before they came that the first session is just going to be consultation. And then we're actually going to do a follow-up training session, which ended up working really, really well for me. Look, it is more time, but I felt that the amount of time I was spending was justified because I was converting a lot more. Instead of giving the client kind of what they want to a certain extent and just saying, I just want the free session. If someone didn't want to do the consult with me, then I would say, look, another trainer can actually contact you. And the consultations I'm going to recommend you today is to do at least 45 minutes with them. And again, it's not going to be over text. It's either going to be worst case over the phone, best case in person, but Zoom is also, people are getting more and more used to Zoom. Sebile, can you tell me, have you ever done consultations in the fitness industry? Have you ever had a paid for client or a client that you gave free training to, where you took them through the processes that you learned when you were studying? If you're still there, Sebile?
I think she's gone.
Sebile!
I'm right, yeah.
Oh. Did you hear my question?
Repeat, please.
I just asked, have you ever had done a consultation before in the fitness industry? Like, have you ever had a paid for client that you've taken through a consultation process, or even a free client, maybe like a family member or a friend that you trained, and then you obviously asked them some questions like you learned when you were studying? Have you ever done that before?
Obviously for studying, I had to like get used to doing that. So yeah, I have like multiple times when I was studying. Then prior to that, after my studies, and I kind of did like offer. People weren't really interested in in doing like personal, like being for me being a personal trainer to them and everything. So they just wanted to work out, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, or whatever. It is what it is. They didn't want to spend the time, and they felt as if it was like taking too long and everything. So I don't know what to say.
This is the time where I would just jump in, and I mean, I wouldn't say this to someone directly, but unfortunately some people think that they know what they need, but they actually don't. And it's really worth taking the time to just giving them like a quick 5-minute explanation why it's important for their safety, why it's important for you as a fitness professional to understand or know certain things about them before you can actually take them on and help them reach their goals. And quite honestly, if someone, after you've done that, Sebile, it's got no reflection on how well you do that process. Some people will just say no, and they don't want to do it. And then I would actually just say to that client, well, I'm sorry, then I'm not the person to work with you. Maybe you can find someone else.
And the thing is, it wasn't paid, like they weren't paying anything. So they didn't really see the need. They just wanted that quick 20 minutes, and like yeah, it was just not worth it to them. So I was like, okay, cool.
This is the worst thing about doing something as a favor. People unfortunately don't really value what they don't pay for. It's rare, but some people do. But most of the time, if someone hasn't actually parted with money, they don't actually value the session. So in their mind, you're just there to train them. So why aren't you just training me? Why are we going to talk? But anyway, like Quentin has said, there are some people that we do want to. I don't want to say repulse. That's probably the worst word. But there's some people that repel. That's a better word.
Repel those people.
Repel those kind of people because you want to work with someone that's serious. And I think through our last session, we learned that everyone here commitment is what they want. I think that was the rolling theme, that everyone wanted a client that's actually committed to the process. Elliot, can you touch on just pretty much like you told me before the session, if you can just share with the group how you do your consultations and the process that you follow in order to get clients at the moment.
So Neil, I'm very happy that I don't need to lure client, although I do need sometimes. But most of my clients all heard about me, or actually had experience with me when they did actually a yoga class with me directly, or they attend one of my breathwork group session. We don't call it consultation, we call it initial assessment. And this is a vital role, initial assessment, because we're assessing where you are at this moment, and we would like to find out what you would like to work on and where you would like to be. So I'm not so sure what are you referring to, but I can share a few things. So first name, surname, birth of date of birth, it's important. Email address I already got from them, okay, initially, and contact number. Very much important. Current life circumstances. So current life is that they're married, how old are they, do they have kids, what kind of job do they have, in what role are they and then underneath life circumstances, we will have current major stressor. So what is the stressor currently in your life? Because this is what we want to address. Not because we're going to eliminate stressor, because we will help them through breath work to navigate through stressors. So it's how to rise up with regard to your life circumstances. Your life circumstances can change or not change. It's up to you what you do. And most of us not equipped with actually rising up above that. Then medical condition and current medication. It's very important to know if they had any, if it's a movement, if they had any surgery for the past 12 months, if I have a pregnant woman currently, or she delivered 2 months ago, because this is also hormonal, can change if you're coming for breath work. And then what current medication. I do have people on depression pills, and I'm not so sure if they're depressed or more they have a crash of energy. So the symptom of low energy and depression are very much similar. They are similar: lack of motivation, don't want to do much of things, closing yourself in your cave, moving away from family and friends. They are very, very similar. This is why when people tell me I'm in depression, and I say, please, before that, we have to really inspect that. And many of them actually do have a crash of energy, or an energy burnout. Many of us suffer from energy burnout. Then there is like presenting symptom. What does presenting symptom? Physical, and then mental. Physical, it's mean if do they have lower backache, headache, insomnia, energy level. Mental can be focus, concentration, memory, impulsivity. Emotional, very much emotional, need to be addressed, whether they feel sadness, anger, anxiety. So I think Ryan the other time told that one of his clients that he record or anything, she's like an energy bomb. And that's wonderful. But what came up to me for him, it was actually that she doesn't know how to exert her energy in a way that will benefit her. So exercise, it's great, but actually she also needs to do some kind of breath work, because she needs really to enjoy the after effect of the exercise, not just during the exercise. Then there is observation, posture, body language, tone of voice, mood. Then I'm checking the breath for 1 minute. I'm not a doctor. I have a way. How do I check? And then there is a program plan. What I decided to do, because my consultation, you say it's 45 minutes and exactly it's cook half an hour. My client likes to talk, a lot to talk. I have a lot of explanation. Because I need to keep the session up to an hour and 15 minutes. I have two clients that don't like to talk, okay? An hour and 15 minutes, I thought that I will organize this kind of form beforehand, beside of what I need to fill in. What I need to fill in, it's like my observation, okay?
Yeah.
And that is very helpful. But you're right, initial assessment or consultation, what you call it, it's vitally important. And those that coming into quick fix, thank you, but you can find someone to keep quick fix. We're not a computer, you press on the button. Even they need maintenance at times, okay? But
yeah, so you're recommending the same sort of thing. Just quickly for everyone, could you tell everyone or share with everyone how you currently are going from a consultation to a paid session? Are you doing a free session? Is the consultation free? Just to share with us how you're currently doing things to convert clients.
Well, I pass the time to sell my time, okay? People knows about me, and because by character I'm a strong character, they know that I'm not drop them and I'm not going to be too nice. I'm going to be very much respectful, okay? They're looking for someone strong that will walk with them the path and encourage them and motivate them. So while I'm doing the initial assessment, they also have a session as well. They have to pay advance. So I'm creating different kind of packages. I'm starting usually with 4 sessions. The first one is initial assessment, so it's always longer, and a session. And then the second session can be a week later or 2 weeks later. Anything that comes for 3-4 weeks, I notice there is no consistency of the people to stick into the practice. They do struggling. It's like I need to work with them. They get homework at the beginning, at the first session, because sometimes it can be like overwhelmed. They can be very much relaxed, and they have like an aha moment, like whatever they feel really anger or frustrated, it's all nonsense. So I try not to bombard them. They get homework to do that. This is the challenge, that I like to check after them so they don't report me. And for some reason, especially men, they don't like to follow what I'm saying. But I'm very grateful that we have a language that they feel that I'm pushing, but I'm not trying to force. I'm trying to help them, in a way. So that kind of agreement. But I would like the app to follow if they're doing their homework, because they don't like to do their homework and then they expect miracles. The female on the other side, okay, I have those that getting into that and committing throughout. I have those that getting and then dropping on the side. And I have those that have lots of excuses, okay? So we're working with that. But I do have a proper session, and they get homework to do. And we decided, I listened very carefully to what time they do have, because I want it to be manageable for them. So, for example, if they tell me, in the morning it's not going to work, I would say, okay, let's do 5 to 7 minutes, and just one small thing, just before bedtime, you need to do 10 to 15 minutes practice. The reason of morning and evening is that the morning you're starting the day, and if you don't start the day with a good energy, with a positive kind of thought, with a good vibration, it can lead you into very poor performance during the day. You need to be aware how you get up in the morning. I, for example, not great in the morning. Don't talk to me the first hour. I know that, okay? So I'm not doing things the first hours. I'm centering myself. The night, before going to bed, we're trying through breath work, cleanse the toxin that accumulates through the day, okay? And we're trying to observe that. With time, when you learn to observe and write a journal, and I don't ask many points, I'm not asking 10 points, I'm asking 5 points. So usually people coming with 2 points for journaling and 3, then they're pushing themselves for the 4th and 5th. they start to understand what's going on and not pushing that away, and then they can do breath work. I have an example, a client that before bedtime to fall asleep, she needs to do a special foot massage, which I taught her, but she can't breathe at the same time. So that's okay. So she will breathe before or after for 5 minutes, and she will do the foot massage, and she always sleep very well after that. So it's very much personal, but initial assessment with a session, and I do run special, that's for sure.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And this is one of the really nice benefits of, if they're using the app, if you are going to be doing a morning and evening session, you can actually name your sessions, like, you know, after you've created the phase, you can name like Monday morning session if Monday and Tuesday are different, or maybe if all morning sessions are the same, you can give them a morning session and evening session. You can schedule that into the app, and then when you see them just before maybe their next in-person session with you or Zoom session, you can actually go into the app and see, have they been doing their sessions, have they been checking them off? So this is maybe another way that you can add accountability. All right, so today, guys, we're not going to speak so much about the sales process. I was just asking a little about her sales process so she can give us an example about how she's doing it, because she's got an up and running business and she is online with doing Zoom sessions. But Quentin and I are going to teach you how to find those clients, and then also the sales process of how to convert those. Today, I'm just going to, again, get you acquainted with some of the core things in the app that you need to know, so that when we do teach you the sales process, and that's coming very soon, that you can work with the things that are important to know, so that when we get there, it can be a quick process of, okay, guys, let's go out there and start finding our first clients. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you now, and I'm going to take you through the consultation process of how you're going to take a client that is interested in some sort of training. They haven't committed to paying, but you are going to take them through some sort of trial period, so that they can feel for themselves and see for themselves how this actually feels and how it goes. And I think this is a reoccurring pattern if you look at exercise facilities all over the world. It's a bit of a different thing with training. You can only really give someone the complete idea and feel for it if they actually try it themselves. So a lot of places do, like Brian mentioned, a free trial pass, like a 1-day pass or something like that, or your first session is free, or things like that, to get people to actually take them through the process, so that they can actually see how it is for themselves and make a more informed decision, other than just going, hi, I'm Neil, I'm a qualified personal trainer, I'm very good at my job, and it's 500 Rand for a session, would you like to sign up? And I mean, that gives them no like backstory, no feeling for how, what sort of processes they're going to go through, how everything works. And I promise you're going to get a lot of no's if you just do like a little sales pitch and then straight to come, let's go have a paid for session. Yes, Alit?
Neil, I have a question with that, because you know, I once have been told that even when I went to old age home to teach yoga, my time, I deserve for my time, okay? So my question to you is that how people, and I believe in energy, okay, and I know energy works, but we need to work hard on ourselves, okay, the underlying kind of line. How people that offering free of charge session, making sure that they don't end up only with free of charge session. Let's say, for example, that, sorry, Sibylle, I'm taking you, you're the only female, so I need to bond with you, okay? Let's
No
Sibylle,
problem.
enthusiastic, she got a great place, she got a great environment, and she advertised, you know, to all of her friends. She got 50 friends, and she divided like 3 or 4 friends every day, okay, and she gave them free session, and everyone say, we like it, Sibylle, it was really great. No one come back to her. So she actually really worked her ass off for 2 to 3 weeks, and she didn't have any coming back. How she combat this kind of challenge? Okay, so this is a question for you. Okay, because I don't have the answer for that. Surely.
That is a fantastic question, and you've given me a very morbid circumstance where yeah, if Sibylle did something 50 times and she just got no answers, that's obviously there's something that maybe that she needs to revisit or relearn. But in that scenario, there could be 10 different things that she's doing wrong. And what hopefully this training is going to teach you is maybe if things are not working out, you need to go review the steps again, and maybe there's something that is crucial that you're missing out on. Because even if you're not well versed in the actual content and don't get to all the things, I think just in life in general, if someone is connecting with you and they feel comfortable with you, I think even if she's not great at the process, out of 10 people, I think she'll get about 3 or at least 2 yeses. So I don't think it's a real scenario if she's going to be spending all of her time and getting nothing back out of it. But yeah, Jean, we can see you. But as you do it over and over and you become more comfortable with the process, I think your natural energy just kind of comes out. And whether or not you get the word incorrectly or you do it the right way, I think people will either connect with you or they won't. And if they connect with you, they're going to want to work with you. So I don't think that's a realistic situation, but that's what we're going to try to teach you is if it's not going so well, then maybe just revisit and take a look at the session again. And maybe there's some points that you're missing. That's the best answer I can give you. But
I think there is another point is that also the marketplace, okay? Perhaps her friends that, she connect to, sorry, Sibylle, I don't mean that it is just only one free of charge thing, okay? They get to use free of charge things. So this is how she approached different market or making alliances with other people or finding a room to contact, other people, so she can reach not just only her own close community, her own close friend. Are you with me? So it's not just revisiting what you're doing right or wrong. It's also, like, for example, I taught in Broad Acres area for 3 years, and then I end up with 2 students. I mean, seriously, I had always like 12 to 15. I know another yoga teacher that's teaching for 20-something years. She got in Lone Hill every Saturday, 35 people. Broad Acres, she was teaching for 10 years, and she ended up with 3 people. So it's not just revisiting what we're doing. I think it's also the different kind of markets or environment that we need to reach out. Maybe I'm mistaking, but yeah.
No, it's got a lot to do. There's also intent. So it also depends on the circumstance that Sibylle was offering her services. I'm just using as an example. I don't know the situation, Sibylle, but for example, you might have just been very casual about it and said, like, look, I'm giving you free. I'll just give it to you for free. Like, please come and just like try it out. Where there's the difference between doing that and saying, look, I'm going to give you a trial session. It's a once-off session, or it's a trial period of time, and we're gonna see how we work together. And then from there, then you kind of put that intent out there to say, look, after that, then I'm going to tell you what my services entail. And if you would like to continue with it, it is a paid for thing. And I think in that scenario where people understand that it's just a small period of time and then that your services are valuable and they are worth something, then there's a much higher chance that person is actually going to take that trial seriously. Or just if they find out that there's a paid for part at the end, and they're not serious at all, then they might just say, look, I don't even want the free session. And normally it's better if someone says no, if they're not even interested in the first place. So it depends a lot on the context as well. But yeah, it's been a great discussion. So that I love that we can do this for our founding members, where we can actually have open discussions about this. And this is great, but I'm going to jump into just the training, the theoretical stuff now. Again, we are going to timeline this, so we can obviously skip ahead of the discussions if we don't want to hear these parts again. All right, so let me get down to the consultations. Okay. As Quentin says each time, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
We can. Awesome. So as I've already mentioned, I'm not going to go into depth of the things that I've already explained. Consultations are either done on the phone, Zoom, or in person. A text consultation is not adequate. It doesn't get into enough depth, and it's actually unsafe to just do a text consultation in a lot of ways, because some people skip over certain things. But I'm going to show you the way that we do it is basically as foolproof as we could possibly do. If someone doesn't disclose some safety issue and then something happens, once we've followed these processes, you're going to be 100% certain that it wasn't a fault on your side, that it was negligence from the client, which is important because we do, as professionals, need to protect ourselves as well. One of the other reasons that I told you specifically that it's either done on the phone, Zoom, or in person is because we need to build rapport and a connection with people. For different situations or different products, like I was talking about, ones that are slightly more automated or going into full automation, it isn't possible to build rapport, and it's a completely different service that you are selling in that situation. So this is for the scenario that I described before. It's very important that you set a clear day and time when a person has said that they're interested in your services, and making sure that it's very clear where that the time of where the consultation, or what time it's happening and where it's happening, is very clear for both sides. It's just got to do with professionalism, and you should be punctual to that session. Okay, if we are doing it on Zoom, make sure, just like we have for these sessions, send like the Zoom link in advance. And it's also important that you tell this person that it is a consultation. They're not coming to the session expecting that it's going to be an exercise session or something like that. So if there was a scenario where they needed to bring something specific, so I'm going to use Alyssa as an example. When I did a breathwork session with her, she beautifully set the tone, and I knew exactly what I was expecting before I actually came to the session, because she said, this is the time, or this is the day, this is the time. These are things that you should keep by your computer in case you're having problems breathing, for example. Have a tissue there. Make sure that you set up the room in a way where you have somewhere comfortable to sit. So I knew exactly what I was getting into before I got there. And then her consultations ran a lot better, because I'm not having to say, sorry, I just need to go get a tissue, my nose is running, etc., etc. So it's very important that when you set a time and a day and you send them a calendar invite, for example, with a Zoom link, that they not only know the day and the time, that they know that this is going to be a session where we're going to be speaking, and so that they're going to be ready beforehand. How are they going to be ready? They're going to have a blank sheet of paper and something that they can take notes with. Okay. If they don't do blank sheets of paper, they can do it on their iPad. They can do it, hopefully not on their phone, or on their computer somewhere where they can write down things that they need to do. And then also you need to be obviously prepared you're going to be furiously taking notes as these people are talking, because they're going to be bringing up things in conversation that would not normally come up on a piece of paper or on a form that they would fill out. Okay. What I've been taught in all the scenarios where consultations or sales processes are happening, they talk of something called the 80-20 rule. And what you need to be doing is you should only be talking 20% of the time. 80% of the time is this is the client's time to share with you. You need to know what they feel, or first of all, about their history, what they want out of the process, how it makes them feel, how would they like to feel. If you can get the client to kind of tell you, or the potential client to tell you the kind of feeling that they want to, or the feeling that's going to be associated with their goal, then you really get into the true reason, the why of why that client is there. So if you're talking 80% of the time and your client's only talking 20% of the time, that consultation probably hasn't gone as well as you think that you have. You might be very happy with yourself and, I explained all of my history and I gave them all this knowledge and I told them so many things about how they're going to get to their goals and all of this. And you might feel very good about the session, but that person it's actually their time to tell you, the professional, what they want. And then once you have that information, it's you as a professional, you should be able to take that knowledge in and say, okay, well, this is what the person wants. How do I piece together what I know and what I can do so that you can get them there? But you're never going to be able to do that unless you find out from them. Okay,
Yeah.
any questions? Any questions about why it's done in person, or being professional about time of day, or about taking notes? Yes, Sean?
Could you give them a form to fill in? Like, let's say you have all your questions that you want to ask. Wouldn't that be easier to like send through to them already that they fill in?
Yeah, so
Like a
And
that
that
is-
you go over the process with them and see what they filled in, and maybe after them already writing it, they like are able to expand more because more things come up.
Yeah, so that's exactly actually what we're doing, and that does save a lot of time, and also it kind of gets people's mind around where the session is going. But what we're going to be doing is inviting them to the app, and when they do download the app, after the intro video, it's going to ask you to fill out a consultation form. Okay, the consultation form looks like this. All right. Which days are you available to work out? How frequently do you have time to exercise? So this is actually at the bottom, sorry. What are your fitness goals? Okay, so they get to select things, and these are pre-selected, so they don't give you something obscure that you actually can't help with. If there's anything else that maybe wasn't listed, they can write there. Then that starts to go over their history. Exercise regularly. What have you done in the last 6 months? Rate your own ability. So this is again asking them from their perspective. How good are you doing cardio stuff? How good are you with exercise in general? What equipment do you have access to? So this is going to help you with building the plans. Which days? This is helping you with your scheduling. And then it asks about injuries. Okay, do you have any existing injuries that you should be aware about? So this person, for example, did tug of war, and they have some back pains. Because of that, it's normally a lower back pain that they've been struggling with. There's another form that actually goes into that asks about joint and bone problems. So this is obviously something that you should ask more about, and then ask you if you smoke, and then also, are there any other comments that you'd like, or other things that you'd like to see in your training? And then, so for example, this is a nice thing that someone told me that it's something that we can bring up into consultation, make a joke about, and it's sort of a good way of building rapport. This person said they do not want to do burpees ever. So yeah, it's obviously it's nice when they do something like that, because it gives you a point of something that you can already open up with a joke about, or just throw in there, and that builds a nice relationship between the two of you. Okay, so you're going to have access to that form before you've actually had this consultation, this consultation where you're actually going to be speaking to them, and then unpacking. So
Okay,
to answer
so
your very long answer, yes, Sean.
so did you make the form yourself, or is it one from Trainerize?
So the form that's there is, I can't even remember the exact original form from Trainerize. I have edited it. I have added some stuff in myself, but there is a pre-existing one that is quite extensive. I've just made some edits to the actual. You can edit the consultation form.
Okay, so you can edit it however you want. So because I saw now in Elit's case, like mindfulness or breath work or any of those questions, you can just add in yourself. Okay, perfect.
Correct. It is customizable, which is really cool.
Okay.
So is there any other questions before we move on?
Nope.
Cool.
Nope.
All right, we need to find out what the client needs from us. Okay, so asking leading questions is important. So it's already kind of outlined there, but ask them if there's any form of exercise that they enjoy. So it can be a movement that they enjoy. It could be horse riding. It could be rock climbing. They might enjoy hiking. And then when you start to get into a more personal process, you'll be able to either give them exercise. You can start to say, look, I can give you an exercise plan that can maybe help you might enjoy that more or get better at that, or just use it as something that complements your session. So if they enjoy hiking, then you may not need to give them cardio sessions, because you can say, look, let's get hiking scheduled in as your workout plan, and then you can start to customize it like that for them. Asking about some background information, what their experience with exercise is. So again, those questions are already answered in the consultation form that they fill out digitally, but they might tell you, or you might ask a leading question of, if they said they used to play soccer. So, oh, did you used to do that at school? For how many years did you do it? And then it's very important that you ask questions like this when you're doing app-based training, because in an in-person session, when you're doing a consultation or taking them through their first session, when you're standing right next to them, you could have a plan out in front of you that you wanted them to do, like barbell squat, so put a weight on their back and actually squat. But when you actually see them for the first time, you realize that then them squatting without any weight is already a challenge for them. So that plan just goes completely out of the window, and you can kind of make or change it on the fly in an in-person session. But with an online session, you need to have a very clear idea about where that person is coming from in terms of their background. Because when you give them that first session, if it's completely something that they'll never be able to do, then it's not a very good first step that you guys have had in that process. So it's very important to know about their background, about their experience. And in general, it's very important to know what they've been doing in the last 6 months. Because even if they have a big exercise history and the last 6 months, it's locked down, they've been sitting, they've been doing nothing. Even a person that is experienced with exercise, you should start that client off very gently, because their body in 6 months has got very used to a sedentary lifestyle. Yeah. So the background information with online training, especially with the app-based stuff, it's very important to know where they're coming from and where they are currently, so the last 6 months. Now you can also start to get into that thing that I told you about, how are they feeling? What is their pain point in terms of why do they want to have a flatter stomach? Is it you can even ask the question, is it because you start, maybe are you feeling less confident in your own skin? And then a leading question like that can get to the conversation of, yes, I'm not feeling attractive for my partner, or I've got this holiday planned where I'm going to go to the beach and wear a costume, and I just want to be able to feel comfortable wearing a costume there. These kind of answers are really going to get to the cream. I don't know. I can't think of a good analogy.
The essence.
The essence of goal setting. So when you are obviously setting a goal and we're going to get to this certain place in 6 months or in 3 months or something like that, that's going to be a big motivating factor. So they're going to make, each time they're going to think, oh, or if they aren't doing their sessions, you can keep bringing it up and say, remember, you've got your wedding in 3 months. I know things might be tough right now, but what can we do? If you can't do the full session, let's maybe do half the session, and that can be used as a reinforcement point so that people are obviously staying with you for longer, but also being more consistent. So what do they want to work on? What is maybe causing them frustration? If they give you an answer like, if they just give you a yes or no answer, if you ask them what their biggest challenge are, they're just like, oh, I'm not so sure. Just say, well, is there anything that is frustrating you right now? Oh, my knee might be niggling, a little bit niggly. So maybe there's some strength work that could be done within in their legs, and this could prevent them from having this pain, this actual physical pain. So it can be emotional pain, and it can also be physical pain that these people are experiencing. And I'm not saying that you're going to rehabilitate them, but general strengthening can help with physical pain as well. All right, what have they tried before? These are not as important, especially if the consultation is going very long, but it's a very good thing to know if they've ever worked with a trainer before, if they've ever taken like a next step, or how it just kind of lets you know how interested they are in their own fitness journey or in their own well-being. Have they ever maybe tried to follow some sort of eating plan? So not just eating whatever they wanted. And also if they've worked with a trainer before, then you know that they at least have some sort of idea about how it works, which can maybe speed things along, and you don't have to explain as many concepts. Is there any questions about finding out what the client needs? All good? Awesome. Okay, safety, incredibly important for, safety is just one of those things that you should never skip over, or you should not avoid. If someone is just wanting to jump straight into a session, the first thing that you bring up is safety. You literally tell them that if they push back and say, look, I don't want to do a consultation, I just want to go do the session. Safety is always my first bringing up to kind of counter that objection and say, look, if you have injuries, or if you have something that you're struggling with, or a health problem, and I train you, you can furtherly hurt yourself, or you could damage yourself, or something really bad can happen. And then you can make it about you and say, I'm not willing to take on that responsibility as a fitness professional, because I am here to make sure that you are bettering yourself, but in a very safe environment. All right. So when you do ask about injuries, there is that PARQ form that I already mentioned. PARQ form is literally going to ask them certain questions about heart health, if they've ever had any chest pain. And so it goes quite extensively into the very hectic medical problems that someone can have. But the last question on that form is basically asking, is there any reason that you know of that physical activity could actually be a problem for you? Okay, so you were literally asking them at the end of that form, it's outright. If it hasn't come up in one of the questions before, is there any reason you know why that you couldn't follow an exercise plan? And if they say no to that, then the consent, or not the consent, they are consenting for you to move forward. And if something goes wrong that they haven't disclosed to you, then the onus is then on them, and not as you as a trainer. Because especially when you're working with international clients, I know South Africans can be quite, I don't know what the correct word, like blasé, I don't know if that's the actual word, but they can be very just people, there's not big lawyer suing that happens here, and people are not as quick to jump to the legal route and say, oh, you did this and whatever, I'm going to sue you. But there are countries that are, I'm going to probably mention America here, that are more inclined to, if you've done something wrong and if you are negligent, that they will pursue maybe some sort of legal action or something like that. So it's very important that you also cover yourselves for those reasons as well. So ask them about the medical. Yeah, go for it.
Sorry, Neil. There is something that called health and indemnity, and everyone need actually to put is a very small paragraph that I might share, with the people, that they put that I'm not responsible to what any loss, any damage, or any physical injury that might happen during the session and after the session. So exactly for the reason that no one will come in claim with them or sue them. So it's a very simple law kind of paragraph, but I can, if you send me a reminder, I will share with everyone, and everyone can put their own name of the company, the own name of facilitator or the trainer, and that can protect them. So yeah.
Thank you, Alit, for sharing that. So just from my perspective, this PARQ form that I was telling you about, in the same email that I send them with the PARQ form, I actually send them a waiver document where they have to, and also just waive, it's like a waiving of rights, saying, obviously I'm doing my best to try to get all the information from you possible, but it also, it basically outlines what you've said as well, Alit, and I'm going to share that with everyone as well. Maybe there's a better version or maybe a shorter one, but my one's, it's just over a page long, and they ask to sign and then put a witness as well. And then obviously, as everyone knows, knowing if someone has had any surgery or joint problems or anything like that, that is something you need to know as a trainer, particularly if they've maybe seen a rehabilitation specialist and said, look, lunges, for example, is something that triggers a knee problem, so they don't want any lunges. It's very important for you to know things like that. All right, and then the goal setting. So I've already basically gone into this, but it's really important that you set a deadline. Okay, deadlines are game changers when it comes to goal setting, because it can just be a someday sort of thing if there isn't a date or a specific timeline that you guys are working towards. So that's when fitness challenges are really cool. If you're doing like a 3-month challenge or a 6-month challenge or anything like that, then that kind of sets a deadline for them. They're paying for the certain period of time. That's good motivation. But it can also be they've got a wedding coming up, or a holiday that they want to go for, or some sort of physical event. And if they don't have an event, then you can just create a date where you guys set a timeline or a date together and say, cool, we are going to, this is the date we're going to aim for. What is realistic for them in terms of how many sessions they can get done? And then you can also advise from your side, is it realistic for them to lose maybe a certain amount of weight or a certain amount of centimeters in that set amount of time? And then together you set up a deadline. It's very, very important in the goal setting session. Okay. It's also important, especially more with online training than it would be in person, because in person you're going to be setting times and dates with them, which is very obvious because you both need to find out when that specific time is. But asking this question, in an online perspective, I found is very important, because otherwise, in the beginning, I had very low consistency with my online clients, because I wasn't actually asking them to actually look in their schedule and see, oh, I can actually exercise in the morning before work, or I've got a lunch break where I can exercise, or after I've dropped my kids or picked them up from school, in between dinner, I actually have a time. And actually getting them to think about their schedule as if they were actually scheduling a set time with you, even though they don't have to, is very important for them to be answering the question of, when can the sessions be done, on which days in the week, and at what times work for them. And this can also be a good thing when you're having a client that's kind of battling a little bit, and you know that David on Wednesday afternoon, he's only got this half an hour period of time, and he's maybe missed his last week sessions. He wouldn't show up for any of them. And you checking in with him, you can send him a message on that Wednesday and say, David, I know things are really tough at the moment, but remember, you've set aside that golden 30 minutes, and it's really important for you to get back to your exercise plan. And that can be very motivational for them, almost as motivational as meet me at the gym at 6 o'clock. Otherwise, you lose the session or something like that. Does that make sense? I'm hoping so. Okay, and then at the end of the whole process, it's very important for them to know that, okay, in the free consultation, we're not going to go into depth, but it's very important just to let them know that if they do take on your services, and if we are going to take the next step together, that we are going to look for things to measure how far we are along and reaching this goal. And there's two main ways that trainers do this. There's a fitness way, and there's a physical way of measuring. Okay, and you can just brief them on the physical tests. The ones that I use in particular to check on if people are making progress in terms of they're getting more physically strong and again a little bit more fit, is the push-up test, the squat test, and the sit-up test. Okay, it's called your strength endurance test, and I'll show you guys how to schedule that in if they do become a paid for client. But it's also important for them to know that these are not these big scary tests that they're going to have to be a fitness guru to be able to complete them. So giving them that context, just like I told you about the lit session, she told me I need to bring tissues, I need to bring this, and then I got more comfortable with the idea of doing this breathwork session because I had an idea about what it entails. If someone knows what's going to be happening before you actually do it with them, it's super, super important. Okay, the physical way that I found the best way to keep up with people online is to just simply use, instead of a scale weight or sending them to get body fat, and everyone has a different situation, and it can just become a tough thing for them to do. If it's hard for the client to do, they might do it once, but then when they have to do their check-in again and things are busy, they may not ever do it again. So the physical way that I would recommend you guys doing this is the strength endurance test, the one that I told you. And that's the fitness way. And in terms of the physical testing, something as simple as progress photos. If that person has a smartphone, they've got a camera. If they've got a camera, they are able to take a photo in the same, you explain to them when the photo should be taken under what conditions, but progress photos are super important in conjunction with the fitness test, so that when you are moving towards this deadline, to motivate the client on the way, you give them the fitness tests to be redone so they can actually see physically that they're becoming stronger and fitter. And then when they look at a photo from 6 weeks ago to 12 weeks to 24 or whatever, whichever time periods that you pick, that they can actually see, oh wow, because they see each other, they see themselves every single day in the mirror. But show them a photo from 6 weeks ago or 6 months ago, they can be incredibly motivated to say, oh my goodness, like look at my legs difference, look at how thinner my stomach looks, blah, blah, blah. It's a really, really good way in order to show and keep that client motivated. And again, as we spoiler alerted before, this is going to be used as marketing material. Obviously, it's the discretion of the client whether they allow you to use the photos, and that's important to ask, obviously. But while they're busy building, you tell them it's between you and them, and it is, unless they obviously give you permissions later. But if it's just between you and them, it's totally fine. That person still needs to be kept motivated and held accountable to if the process is working or not. And it also gives feedback to the trainer. If they following all of your protocols and things are not changing, then you as a trainer can say, oh, okay, well, things are not changing as quickly as I think that they should be. Maybe we need to change something because it's not working very well for you. So it's also feedback from the trainer as well. Is there any questions about the goal setting process? All good.
Nope. Yeah, all good.
All right, that's about as much detail as I can give you in one session. I know there's a lot to digest there. I would recommend you guys going through the session, this part again. We will timeline the video like we have said. Maybe it's also worth me doing like a shorter video somewhere where I just hit on the most important points. But I would really recommend you going through this whole video of this consultation process at least once, and then maybe we can have like a refresh. I can give you guys like a refresher video for if there's been a set or maybe just something that you watch just before you do consultation with the clients or something like that. I don't know what the best way would be, but I know there was a lot of information that I gave you. And again, you're not going to be expected to like learn this like a parrot. These are things that I have used that I found work really well for me, but it's not supposed to be done in a way where it's like bullet pointed and then you ask them a question. So what is realistic for you? Like type of thing. It's got to flow, and flow I found is more important than making sure that you are chronological and hit every single point. If you lead down a little bit further towards one way or the other way, you can, once you get better at this, you can not casually, but you can kind of flow it into the conversation a lot easier, bringing up the next point without it seeming like you're reading something off of a list. But that just comes with practice, guys. Okay, that's my in-depth training about the consultation process.
That was amazing. For me as an outsider, I learned a hell of a lot.
I'm really glad to hear that. It got very quiet there. So I was breaking the 80-20 rule, but this is a specific, obviously this is a specific for
this is not a consultation, this is a lesson. Fridays are consultations.
Neil, can I say something? Okay. With regard to measure the progress in terms of tests, people can just say, let's say that they start to measure the progress on the second session or the first one where they kill them, second one, and after the 12th or the 14th, they say, they invite, let's see how we improve on that, okay? And then they take the account, and only later then, I just want to share with you how you improve in the 12, 14, weeks from the second session today, instead of call it, for yourself, it's a test, you mark it, but for the people, maybe some of them are ambitious like me, and when they don't get it, they're really get frustrated, or they're a little bit scared, oh, I maybe won't do well. So maybe instead of test, in different words, unless, you're telling to yourself, and realistic, another word is how you can manage that when you do have stress of work or family or other thing, comparing when you have easy days, how you can manage that. So that's a bit softer word about realistic.
Okay, I like that. Sometimes wording is very, very important. but I'm using these straightforward words so that you guys can understand the principles. But yes, they can be used as they are, but that is very valid. A lot of the time, if you identify that some person has a problem with test, maybe they're very competitive, and then that makes them it makes them, what is the word? My brain is starting to misfire here. It brings out the competitive nature in them too much, and then it becomes more about a competition than actually about growth. Then with that specific situation, I think it's better to use different words.
Very good. Okay, guys, I just want to find out if you, because I quickly want to just kind of kick off in terms of Facebook group and tell you all about that. But we're probably going to need a little bit more time for that. How's everybody for time? Say for another half an hour. Has everybody got?
I'm okay.
Okay, thanks, Sabile. Okay, so
still half an hour. That's
well, yeah, I don't know if we need to go into depth about it. Let me just give you the sort of the introduction then of Facebook and Facebook groups and why we use that. Sorry for my throat there. Basically, you know, just listening to Neil talking about the consultation process and a discussion we've had earlier about people, you know, coming in and using your consultation and never sort of doing anything else, or just doing the free sessions and not wanting to do actual sessions with you. It's something that I believe that the Facebook groups could actually be of a tremendous help. So it's a tool that we're going to be using, whether you yourself use Facebook or not. Facebook groups is a very unique tool because it provides that sort of community environment where people can talk to you, and you could talk to them, and they talk back to you, and they can also talk to each other. So we're going to be using Facebook groups to do, yes, the traditional thing of lead generation, in other words, in getting you leads. And the second thing that Facebook groups allows you to do is to cultivate a community or a culture, actually, to create a culture around you, what you are and what you want to serve people with. So, you know, that whole thing about, you know, people not wanting to pay, you just getting people who just want freebies. That's the difference between getting a quality lead versus just getting quantity leads. You know, when you run Facebook ads and things like that, we're not going to be teaching paid for Facebook ads in the beginning. We'll just do organic or free stuff. But sometimes if you target a market, you know, somewhere in an obscure place in the world, you can get very cheap likes, as they say, on your page, but they're not quality leads. So those kind of people, you're attracting the wrong people. And as Neil says, sometimes you need to repulse people. So just teasing you, Neil. Okay, so the face, getting people into your world, into your Facebook group, and we'll show you how to set up a Facebook group so that it actually becomes a very valuable tool. But I just wanted to kind of mention a few things, how it flows into this consultation process, because it actually can be the start of the consultation process, because that's where you, as I said, create the culture for those people, and you getting the right kind of people into the place where you can then connect with them and offer them a free consultation. It also is a place where you can create expectations with people. You know, it's a question like Neil was saying, asking somebody, have they worked with a personal trainer before? Maybe somebody's got a very skewed thing in their mind about what that means. And this is a place where you can start giving people that kind of information just to kind of get their mindsets ready so that they're in the right frame of mind. You know, the things that you could do is also a lot of information that maybe when they get to the consultation process, there's some stuff that you just have to teach them, and that takes a lot of time. Maybe those are the kind of things you could start putting in the Facebook group where those people can be exposed to that kind of thing, and it makes sense for them. Oh yes, this is why things happen in a certain way. And a very big one, of course, is people have fears that they might not express immediately, or things that they're afraid of. They might fail, or they might never lose weight, or this is just my body the way I look, and I'm never going to be able to change. So you could start dispelling some myths and things in a Facebook group as well. And the other very valuable thing is what I was saying about the three-way communication, is you can actually ask questions in a Facebook group where it allows people to kind of start self-reflecting. Because if the first time they come to your consultation and you ask them a question about why do they really, really want to do training, what's their real why, it's kind of maybe they wouldn't even be able to say anything because they haven't thought about it. So maybe starting to ask those questions in the group and just having a conversation about it allows you to, or allows them to become self-aware about certain topics and how they actually feel about certain things. And then maybe, as Neil mentioned, that's a fantastic place where if it is somebody that likes to, that gets some good results and wants to show it to a bunch of people, that would be a good place if they want to share that with a lot of people. So we are talking here about creating an open Facebook group. In other words, this is the group of people. This is where we're going to be connecting with people that you've, let's say, what they call it, a cold audience, people coming into your group for the first time and that you've met, and you just want to give them some sort of idea, and you bring them into your Facebook group. So we'll teach you all of sort of that whole process, how that would work. But I just wanted to kind of get your mindset around why we talk about Facebook and why we're going to be using Facebook group as a tool for now. So I know Jorn said his bum is getting sore from sitting. So maybe that's something that we can then hold over till the next time, and actually how you set up a Facebook group. Just maybe interesting, anybody else have got a up and running Facebook group already that they have?
Question, Quinton. When I tried to do Facebook group last year to promote like the traditional unsuccessful way, one of the things is to add our contact. But for some reason, from certain time in Facebook history, I'm not so sure if it's last year or the year before, I'm not allowed, actually they don't allow me to add my contact. So I don't know how to overcome that.
Yeah, well,
there's
absolutely.
something like this. Secondly, my question, to be practical with our time, okay, especially if we have other things on our plate, if we start a Facebook group and have all the conversation and answer, I know that other professionals do have the money for people to answer and run that. How we do it is service actually to promote, but we put a lot of our time to maybe get a client or two into our product or our services. So how do we manage that wisely without burnout, or at least my expectation, if I'm putting twice a week an hour, I do want a client. Okay, yes. So the time investment.
Yeah,
in that.
and this is what I was mentioning in the beginning. You can get traffic, or you can get leads in two different ways. You can either do it by doing it or the organic way and reaching out to people yourself and managing something like this, or you could do paid traffic. So that's a different way where you actually have to give Mark Zuckerberg some money to bring traffic to your world, which then gives you leads that you can then have consultations with. What we're going to be doing, and Neil will talk about that next week, is actually we're going to be starting with people that you already have contact with, that you already have connections with. So those will be old clients, existing clients, friends, family, and those sort of things. So those are the people you want to be connecting with. But once you're done with that list, if you want more clients, if you want to grow your business, you're going to have to reach out to people you don't know. And that's the opportunity that social media provides, and platforms like Facebook provides you a way to get in connection with people. I mean, there's other ways that you can do, lots of other ways, but we chose to show you this particular platform, You can go the route of emails and, you know, buying a list and sending thousands of emails out to people, but your conversion rate is going to be very low there, and it's just going to cost you a lot of money. So we're going to be starting off just teaching you organically how to grow your audience and how to bring more people in your world. And then if you have a business that's generating significant amount of money, then I would say by all means, then switch to paid traffic and do it that way. And also, when you get to scaling your business, yeah, absolutely hire a social media manager that does these things for you. There's lots of responsibilities within a business that we as solo entrepreneurs do ourselves, but sometimes it makes sense to outsource that stuff. You know, for instance, graphic designers, maybe it's a good idea just to get to, you know, pay a graphic designer or a copywriter, but that's your choice. At what point do you feel your time is more valuable than that?
Okay. Quinton, you just didn't answer my question with regard to adding contact, that Facebook doesn't allow something to add contact.
Yes.
And secondly, how much one wisely need to spend in that? I did pay ad, the minimum amount. All I got is like, okay? Yeah. I'm not in Facebook to get like. I get convert from an interest or someone, you know, and the like, it's even to just browse and like and move on. They didn't even read anything.
No, that's crazy.
So much effort and time, and this is my
definitely not
for the style of Facebook. Sorry, but yeah.
All right, yeah. In fact, that's what you're talking about is paid traffic, and there's different sort of objectives that you can put into a campaign. And if you're putting that you want likes, Facebook is going to give you likes. If you say you want conversions, then that's a different objective that you actually put into your campaign. But your actual question is about your contact information. Your contact information, I mean, you could put on your membership or your Facebook group, whatever you want, but there isn't a specific place, but you could put it into your cover at the top. But then also there's 3 different places that I want to tell you guys about, that the real estate that Facebook gives you for free. And that's your personal profile as a Facebook page, as well as your Facebook group. Those are 3 different places that you could actually put your information, so that when you post in your Facebook group, you can post as your page, when your page has the contact information, or you post as yourself and your information is there. So yeah, there's different ways to do that, but you can definitely expose that to people. Cool. So we'll do maybe an in-depth session on that. When I say in-depth, half an hour. And I realize you guys are tired, so am I. We can maybe just let that stand over for next time. But, oh, you guys didn't answer my question. So has no one got a Facebook group at the moment? No group. Ryan, Sabile, no groups?
No, none yet.
So I'll show you how to do that from scratch. And in fact, Neil will show you how to do that from scratch. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Are we?
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evenings.
Yeah, we did a longer session like we said we would, but again, the Friday session is going to be shorter. So we'll see you on Friday, guys. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you learned a lot, and see you then.
Okay, bye-bye.